Hello, and welcome back to Virtual STEAM Teacher. What we're going to have a look at today is a website that I really enjoy called CodingBat. Now, the best thing about CodingBat is it's simple enough for upper middle school and high school students to learn some basic programming skills. Lots of other websites often show students how to program, but don't give students enough, I would say, scaffolding on how to get started practicing themselves or give them enough problems. There's other websites that have lots and lots of problems, but they don't sort of group them together and students just get lost because there's too much and then they go too hard. So this website's sort of a nice mix in between. After students have finished being, I would say, babied and helped step by step through some interesting programs, and they're sort of at that next level where they can't yet write a whole program, but they need to practice. This is normally the website that I go to. And it focuses on two languages, Java, which has lots of problems, and then Python, which has enough, but not quite as many. Now, there's a few things to be aware of. Number one, and this is probably my biggest gripe with the website, is you can do these problems without logging in. So let's have a quick look at one. And here we go, warm-up 1. These ones, all the ones in warm-up 1 and 2, have solutions. So if your students get really stuck, they can simply cheat and copy the questions. And we've got some nice features here. We've got automatic syntax highlighting. If you press enter, it automatically indents. So it's not just a straight text box. It's really nice the way they've done this. It just works. So we have here the examples, and you can write your code using those. And then over here you can see if you get it right or wrong, and it tells you where you got it wrong. And if we now go back, we've got a green tick. So the only problem I have with this website, and it's worth being aware of, is if you do a whole bunch of work, or if your students do a whole bunch of work, it saves it on a local cookie. If they then log in, it deletes that work, because then it logs in, replaces a cookie with your cookie, with the student's cookie, and then everything they've done has disappeared. So I've had a few students where this has happened. The easiest way to do this is make sure, have you logged on their own computer, it's not an issue. But if you've got school computers where they move around, then they don't stay logged in. So if they log on, easy enough, and then they don't lose their progress. But the one problem we've had is if students do work, then log on, then the progress is lost. Now, once they log in, and I can't show you this, not today anyway, you'll have an option here where they can enter a teacher email account. If you've logged in with your account, just as a student, well, it makes no difference, you just log on. They can type in your email address, and then you end up with a report section up here, and you can see the progress of all of your students, which is really nice. So with some very simple, you can't give them a code, they just have to know the email address you used to register. You can then see all the work they've done. So we've got tracking, we've got students doing problems, we've got self-paced learning. It's a really nice website. Down here, they've got some help sections. I always refer to my students to these. They've got a link to the practice problems. If we go back here, they can practice it. And it basically goes over the beginning bit. So some example code for just getting started. We've got if statements, you've got lists, you've got strings, which is basically what it teaches you how to do. Okay. Now here it talks about the badges. If you've got 3 problems done, then you get the stars. Basically, if they've done all the questions, they get all the ticks and they get all the stars. So, sort of cool. And what ends up happening here is you'll get all these ticks across here. Right? And as they get all the problems done, they'll end up with 4 stars, 3 stars. Basically, once you've done so many problems, you get a star. So, as a teacher, it's really nice. You can just walk around, say, go to this page, and either they can take a screenshot, or you can just look if you've got to keep a record and show it. The report is, I'd say, a bit more detailed. This way you can just very quickly and easily see, how much have they done, where is it, So from that management or keeping a record, you can just take a screenshot of this. So just going through, normally what I personally do is do warm-up 1 and warm-up 2. I personally encourage the students to cheat, right? It has some questions if we go here, right? A little bit of everything. So this is sort of nice to get started with. So if we go back to Python, and I encourage them to cheat. It's sort of like, look, if you get stuck, just look at the answer, do it. And the reason for that is once you go past warm-up 1 and 2, there are no answers. I'm sure if they look online enough, they can find them. I haven't tried that hard, but there's no solutions down here. And then it's sort of like, look, you don't have to do it from scratch. After you've done one solution, you can have your code here. You've got a little hint, right? It's sort of like, go back to that previous, didn't we do a similar problem? Wasn't this other one like it? It's like, well, yeah, go back there. And what I sometimes do is get them to have 2 tabs. So let me just show you. So we've got our Python one. Here's our first one. And this is the one I've just done. And it's like, okay, well, here's your previous one. And then go to your next tab and then continue on with it here. So yeah, this is CodingBat. It's free. There is a lot more Java. I often start my students off as Python. Once they've mastered Python, I then move over to Java. If we have a quick look here, where is it? Sleep in is exactly the same problem. Right, but now the code is in Java. Over here, the code is in Python. It really helps if students do the same problems in one language and in another language. They can see the difference in syntax, the difference in style, and how the problems are similar, but we just have to write it in a different way. And my students really appreciate that. They've said that's one of the nicest things about this. Now, the Java one has a whole bunch of extra stuff. I generally avoid it, mainly depending upon what I'm teaching. But we've normally got warm-up 1, warm-up 2. If we go back to Python here, start off with those. I often then go to strings, simply because strings are really useful. Sometimes I skip lists, depends on the students. I go down to logic 1, and then I often go back to list 1. And then after that, the order of these is sort of irrelevant. If we go back to Java, warm-up 1, warm-up 2, again, strings 1, then often logic 1. Then I often go back to arrays 1. In middle school, sometimes I skip arrays completely, simply because it's not needed. Well, depends on your syllabus. Yours may be more important. We mainly need to do strings and arrays, strings and logic. And then after that, I often go to logic 2, strings 2. Again, sometimes do array 2, it depends. And then we go down here, strings 3, arrays 3, and where is it? I think there's no logic 3. Now, for most of my students, this is all we need up until I get to upper secondary, and then I do recursion 1, and then my students who are amazing go into recursion 2, but most students never get to recursion 2. These ones, AP1, functional 1, functional 2, map 1, map 2, all sort of cool. Not something I actually need to do with my syllabus. I only ask students to do that if they've finished everything and they want some extension work. Often skipping map 1 and 2 I like, but again, I don't need it. And functional 1 and 2, again, I don't need it for my syllabus. But I found AP1 really useful just before exams, going through and doing it for some revision. So yeah, this is CodingBat. Sort of my go-to website once students have finished a course that really holds their hand and they need something more to get their teeth sunk into, but they still need some scaffolding.